First thing I'm going to do is do a little safety scan on the roof. So first off, there are no live electrical wires that I can see anything above that. I'm mostly going to just peer over the top with the ladder and get an idea of a good placement, and then assess the safety aspect of it here a little bit later. So that's our first safety scan. All right, so here we are at the roof. Here's our initial scan up here. Got a little bit of bow in the roof. If I bring this down, you can kind of see it, particularly like that. I'm not going to go tromping around too much on the top of this roof. But I've also got a little bit of damage I can see right there, which is probably hail damage onto the sunlight area or skylight area. I'm going to go ahead, while I'm doing the work here, I'll probably prepare that to be repaired as well. Looking for a spot on the roof that is going to be nice and sunny, no trees or debris close by that could get caught up in that vent. And so I think I've got a pretty good spot. Roof looks pretty good. I'll get you a little bit more detail on how we're going to do this curb here later this week. Okay, what I'd like to show you here is the solution that we've come up with for the R panel installation of a solar power attic vent, or this also works for any other type of power attic vent. So I've got a standard piece of R panel here that this actually came off of the metal building here on the side. And you can see the side here. You've got a ridge here, a minor ridge here, another minor ridge, and a ridge here. And so if we were to take our solar power attic ventilator and we were going to try to mount this on top of this panel, what we're going to see is this. So you can see a space here in between the actual top of the ventilator, which obviously this is flat. I believe this is aluminum. And actually it's galvanized, excuse me. And you can actually hear the vent picking on right now and drawing air up through here. All right, so this doesn't work, because if I just fasten this down to this R panel, you're going to have some leakage in here, even if you had the hole in the middle of the R panel itself. And so I was looking for a solution off the shelf, really. I could have built something out of wood. I could have built it out of foam. But what I found was this great solution from these guys called Haslet products. Haslet has a ready-made solution for exactly this, as well as some other R panel and other type of panel solutions. And what we have here is we've got a piece of wood here that's been attached by some sort of glue to a foam. Now the foam has been molded to match the exact specifications of a standard R panel. Now there are different R panels out there. It oftentimes varies where you are in the United States, what type of R panel you use. But this is a very typical R panel that's used this is a very typical R panel that's used in the southern part of the United States. So as you can see, just ready-made. They've already cut a hole in it. They actually cut the dimensions to fit my power attic ventilator, and they cut a hole in it. The diameter should fit my exact power attic ventilator. So then, next step, I'm going to take, and this is of course just a simulation of what I'm going to do on the roof. I'm going to take my unit, my solar rooftop unit, and I'm going to line it up with the hole. I've got some sort of leaves or something in here. Okay. And then when it's time to actually fasten this to the roof and connect the power attic ventilator with the wood piece and then the foam piece, what they suggest is that you're driving this through the major R panel ridges. So these ridges right here. So they say basically don't try to drive it through these lesser ones. Follow this contour right there, and we can pre-drill some holes in this, and then also attach them here and attach them most likely right here. So that's the idea. Haslet Products has a great instruction manual telling you how to do this. And it is a great, as far as an off-the-shelf solution, something that you do not have to spend a lot of time and energy trying to match these R-panel groups. I find it's a great solution, and that's what's going up on top of this shop. So a little trick we're going to do as we're sitting here and we're going to pre-drill. I am going to mark right here, right on that R panel, and I'm going to come back in with a nail. I'm going to poke a little hole on the top just so I understand where that's going to go. And then I'm going to pre-drill. I'm going to flip this thing over and pre-drill that so I can get these screws in. So to give you kind of a 360 walk around about how this should look before it actually goes up on the roof. Of course, this R panel that we have here is not the R panel that's going on the roof. It's just a simulation here on the crown. So this is how it's going to look prior to being fastened. And I'll go ahead and get the fasteners pre-drilled onto the galvanized portion of the paradig vent in order to attach that to the Haslet R panel attachment.
I'm going to take the opportunity while I'm here to actually begin the cutout into the roof. It's really difficult working from the bottom up in order to get that hole in place. And then finally, I'll secure that fan into place by attaching the base of the fan to the R panel adapter.